Do you agree that real courage begins where comfort ends? Do you agree that we are hardwired for connection and that armor keeps us lonely? And do you agree that the life you're craving requires you to show up even when you can't control the outcome? If you're nodding, or even just quietly agreeing inside, then I'm going to share with you the top 12 life-changing lessons from one of the most influential voices in modern leadership and human connection, Brené Brown. She's the researcher-storyteller who changed how we understand courage. Not the absence of fear, but showing up with an open heart when the outcome is uncertain. From the power of vulnerability to Dare to Lead to Atlas of the Heart, her work reveals a simple, demanding truth. No vulnerability, no courage, no innovation, no connection, no love. Hi, I'm Jane, and this is Cinemalizers, where real stories ignite real change. Today, I'm inviting you to rumble with your life, because transformation doesn't begin out there. It begins within. Let's start where every brave life begins, the arena. The place your fear says, only enter when you're ready, and your soul says, enter especially when you're not. The arena is where you go to be seen, not to be perfect. The seats are full of critics who don't know your story, and the floor is littered with the armor you took off to step through the gate. I can hear the echo of your footsteps, your heart beating against your ribs like a drumline before a war. You didn't choose but refused to lose. Listen, this isn't about winning. It's about showing up with a whole heart when the scoreboard is blurry, when you're not sure if you'll be praised or misunderstood, when the outcome is uncertain but your values are not. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's the most accurate measure of courage we have. And right now, right here, is the only stage where your life can change. You will be tempted to bargain with vulnerability. I'll show up once I know it'll work. But that's not how the math of courage works. No vulnerability, no courage, no risk, no art, no uncertainty, no love. The armor you use to protect yourself, perfectionism, cynicism, control, numbing, it looks like safety from the outside, but it's a cage with gold-plated hinges. It keeps out the hurt and the joy. It keeps out the judgment and the belonging. It keeps out failure and the one thing you came here to find, yourself. When you step into the arena, you're not asking, will they like me? You're asking, did I live my values? Did I tell the truth? Did I love without negotiating my worth? Your worthiness is not on the table. It's the ground beneath you. In the messy middle, where we spend most of our lives, the bravest phrase is 5 words long. The story I'm telling myself. The story I'm telling myself is that they didn't text back because I'm too much. The story I'm telling myself is that my team's silence means I failed them. The story I'm telling myself is that my partner's hard day is secretly about me. Courage begins when we pull those stories into the light, label them, and reality check them. Shame thrives in secrecy, silence, and judgment. It withers under language, empathy, and truth. When we name a story, we loosen shame's grip. When we share it with someone who has earned our trust, we rewire the ending. Try it now, breathe, and say it out loud, even just to yourself. The story I'm telling myself is, then ask, with grounded curiosity, what else could be true? Shame says, who you are is wrong. Guilt says, what you did was wrong. That difference matters. Guilt can guide us back to our values. Shame handcuffs us to an old identity. The antidote to shame is not perfection, it's connection. Name it. Reality check the story. Reach out to someone safe. Speak it. Shame survives in the dark like mold. It dies in the sun like a bad rumor. This isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about embracing the human truth that you are imperfect and worthy of love and belonging now, not after you prove it. Not when the scale changes, not when the metrics spike, not when your inbox becomes a garden of praise. Now, the courage to say, I need help, I was wrong, I'm hurt, I'm scared, that's not a detour from strength, that is strength. If love is the path, trust is the ground. Trust isn't a grand gesture, it's a stack of small, kept promises. Think braving, boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault, integrity, non-judgment, generosity, boundaries. I'm clear about what's okay and what's not. Reliability, I do what I say, over time. Accountability, I own my mistakes and repair them. Vault, your secrets don't become my stories to tell. Integrity, I choose courage over comfort, values over approval, what's right over what's easy. Non-judgment, I can ask for help without fear of being shamed, and you can too. Generosity, I choose the most generous interpretation of your words and actions when I'm uncertain. Trust is built brick by brick, and braving is the blueprint. If trust is shaky in your life or leadership, don't declare bankruptcy. Start laying bricks. One clear boundary, one kept promise, one repair attempt, one courageous I don't know yet. Clear is kind. Unclear is unkind. We think we're being polite when we avoid hard conversations, but what we're really doing is outsourcing clarity to resentment. Boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They are gates that teach people where the door is. I'm not available after 7 p.m. I won't discuss this if you raise your voice. I can help with feedback if you can receive it without defensiveness. Boundaries let love, work, and creativity flow without leaking our dignity. If you're constantly exhausted, resentful, or overcommitted, your soul might be whispering. You're saying yes when you mean no. Let your no be as loving as your yes. Clear is kind, not cruel, kind. Because truth without love is brutality, and love without truth isn't love. When you choose clarity, you teach people how to love you, and how to love themselves more honestly. Belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. Fitting in is negotiating identity for acceptance. Belonging is standing in your truth and being met there. One is a costume, the other is a homecoming. If you've ever walked into a room and shapeshifted to match the energy, you know what hustling for worthiness feels like. It's exhausting, and it never pays out. The price of admission to real belonging is authenticity, and authenticity is a daily practice. The courage to let go of who you think you're supposed to be, so you can be who you are. You'll lose a few cheap seats when you stop performing. Good. Those were never your people. The ones who stay, the ones who look at your unpolished truth and say, "More of that, please." Those are your home team. That is belonging. Perfectionism is a 24/7 bodyguard with a broken radar. It promises safety, delivers anxiety, and charges you your joy. Grounded confidence is different. It's earned through experience, practice, and falling down without losing your story. Grounded confidence says, I know who I am and what I value. I can learn. I can repair. I can start again. It's not bravado. It's a quiet rootedness. Think of a tree in the wind. The trunk steady, the branches dancing. That's you, with grounded confidence. You don't need to be right to be worthy, and you don't need to be fearless to be brave. You need to be present, honest, and willing to do the next right thing. When perfectionism whispers, make it bulletproof before you share. Grounded confidence says, make it honest, then ship. When you move from performance to presence, your life stops being a stage and becomes a practice. Every new thing is an FFT, a first effing time. The first hard conversation, the first vulnerable idea pitched, the first day back after a failure, the first time you say, I don't have it all together. FFTs come packaged with uncertainty, awkwardness, and 1,000 tiny temptations to back out. Name it. This is an FFT. Normalize it. Of course it's uncomfortable. I've never done this before. Put it in perspective. This feeling won't last forever. And add a little humor if you can, because laughter is a pressure valve on the nervous system. The goal isn't to avoid the awkwardness, it's to learn to breathe inside it. When we normalize FFTs, we stop making discomfort our enemy and start making it our teacher. Growth has never worn pajamas. It shows up in work boots and asks for your full presence. Strong back, soft front, wild heart. The strong back is your spine, your values, your boundaries, your commitment to integrity. The soft front is your open chest, your willingness to be moved, to feel, to receive. The wild heart is your courage to love in a world that teaches you to hedge your bets. Armored leadership protects from pain. Daring leadership transforms it. In your family, your team, your friendships, the invitation is the same. Stand tall in your values, open your chest to connection, and let your heart remain undomesticated by fear. People will try to shame you back into the neat boxes of certainty and control. Smile, breathe, and remember, domesticated hearts don't write symphonies, and they don't raise brave kids, and they don't build cultures where truth can breathe. Strong back, soft front, wild heart. That's the posture of a brave life. When a conversation turns hard, the armor arrives early. Defensiveness, blame, stonewalling, contempt. Trade them for curiosity, accountability, and clarity. Start with the most generous assumption. I want to believe you're doing the best you can with the tools you have. Then add specificity. Here's the impact I experienced. And humility. Help me understand what you were hoping would happen. If you feel yourself armoring up, pause and name it. I'm starting to get defensive. That simple naming gives you choice. Ask yourself, what outcome do I value more than winning this moment? Usually it's connection, learning, or repair. And remember, braving. The vault means we don't weaponize each other's vulnerabilities. Non-judgment means we can ask for help. Accountability means we own our missteps. Integrity means we say the thing we came to say, kindly and clearly. Clear is kind, avoidance is unkind. Go slow, breathe. You can do hard things. Values aren't wall art. They are the behaviors you are willing to be held accountable for. If your top values are courage and compassion, then your calendar, your budget, and your feedback should reveal them. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort, again and again. It's returning to a teammate after a sharp email and saying, I'm sorry, that wasn't aligned with who I want to be. It's telling your kids, I was wrong to snap at you. My stress isn't your fault. It's telling yourself, rest is responsible, numbing is not. When you live your values, shame loses its leverage because you're no longer negotiating your worth through performance. You're practicing your worth through alignment. This isn't moral perfection. It's daily practice. Gentle, consistent, accountable. And when you fall short, and you will, you repair. That's integrity too. In a culture that celebrates optics over substance, beware the near enemies. The behaviors that masquerade as virtues while hollowing them out. Performative empathy that says the right words without the right presence. Politeness that avoids truth and calls itself kindness. Control that masquerades as responsibility. Cynicism that protects against disappointment and calls itself wisdom. The near enemies keep us safe from exposure and far from intimacy. Choose the real thing. Empathy means I'm with you, not above you. Not fixing you, not competing with you. Kindness means clarity with care, not a smile that sidesteps truth. Responsibility means ownership with boundaries, not micromanagement. Wisdom makes room for hope. The brave life is not a costume. It's a practice your nervous system can feel. Before you walk into the arena today, the meeting, the conversation, the stage, the living room, write yourself a permission slip. Permission to be seen, permission to ask for a break if I'm flooded, permission to say I don't know, permission to feel proud. Tuck it in your pocket and choose your vault partners wisely, the ones who have earned the right to hear your stories. Not everyone gets access to your sacred spaces. Vulnerability without boundaries is not vulnerability, it's exposure. And if you've broken the vault for someone else, go repair it. Say, I shared something that wasn't mine to share, and I'm sorry, it won't happen again. Trust is slow cooked, not microwaved, but it's worth the wait. because a few people who know your whole story and love you there, that's wealth. Empathy is not agreement, it's connection. It sounds like, "That sounds really hard. I can see why you'd feel that way. I'm here." When someone trusts you with their pain, resist the reflex to fix, compare, or silver line. Pain doesn't need a lesson, it needs a witness. The paradox is, empathy often unlocks the very resilience we were trying to force with advice. When someone feels seen, their nervous system settles enough to choose wisely. In teams, empathy doesn't mean low standards, it means high standards with high support. Accountability is an act of love when it says, "I believe you can do hard things, and I will be here as you do them." In families, empathy means we sit on the floor with a crying child and breathe with them before we teach. In self-talk, empathy means replacing "what's wrong with me" with "what happened to me" and "what do I need now?" Armored leadership asks for compliance. Daring leadership cultivates commitment. The difference is vulnerability. Armored leadership hoards information, uses fear as a motivator, confuses control with care. Daring leadership shares context, engages curiosity, and aligns on values and outcomes. Armored leaders need to be right. Daring leaders need to get it right. Armored leaders avoid feedback because it threatens identity. Daring leaders request feedback because it strengthens outcomes. If you lead, you set the emotional tone, make it safe to learn, normalize FFTs, celebrate repairs, hold the line on integrity and boundaries, replace who messed up with what's the learning and how do we fix it. Make braving your team contract. We do boundaries, we do reliability, we do accountability, we do vault, we do integrity, we do non-judgment, we do generosity. Watch what happens when people no longer need to hustle for worthiness to be on your team. They create. It's easy to be brave when you have applause. It's holy to be brave when you have silence. Choosing integrity when it's inconvenient is how you become someone you trust. When the room nods along to an unkind joke, don't. When the easy sale requires a slippery half-truth, opt out. When the standard practice harms the very people you serve, change the standard. You will lose a few shortcuts and a few spectators. You will gain sleep, self-respect, and a reputation your children could wear like heirloom jewelry. Integrity doesn't guarantee outcomes, it guarantees alignment. And alignment is what lets you walk into the mirror and say, "We're good," even when the world is noisy. We will miss the mark. The question is not if, but how soon will I own it? "I'm sorry" is not a performance, it's a practice. Own the behavior, name its impact, ask what's needed for repair, then do it. Know if you felt hurt. Know but you did this too. Repair transforms shame into growth because it says, "I'm bigger than my mistake." In relationships, repair restores trust. In teams, repair saves creative risk from quiet death. In parenting, repair teaches kids the most essential human skill, how to come back to each other. The brave don't avoid failure. They learn to repair quickly and thoroughly. That's how cultures heal. That's how families become more than a collection of schedules. That's how leaders become worthy of the word. Bravery is not a sprint fueled by caffeine and self-contempt. Bravery is an endurance practice fueled by rest and play. Hustling for worthiness says, "You can rest when you've earned it." Worthiness whispers, "You were worthy in the crib." Rest is a responsibility when your life requires courage. It's what keeps your nervous system from turning courage into collapse. Play, the space without purpose or productivity, is not childish. It is a portal to creativity, joy, and connection. If you've forgotten how, start small. 10 minutes without a goal, walk without a podcast, draw badly, laugh loudly. Rest and play are not the reward for bravery. They are the infrastructure that makes it sustainable. Here is a compass for your next 24 hours. Brave work. Identify one conversation you've been avoiding and schedule it. Tough conversations. Prepare with generosity. The story I'm telling myself. The impact was. What were you hoping would happen? Whole hearts. Regulate your body before you regulate the room. Breath down into your belly, shoulders back, heart soft. Remember, clear is kind. Your goal isn't to win. Your goal is to walk out aligned with your values and the relationship intact. If you must choose, choose integrity over approval. You can build respect on that foundation, even with people who disagree with you. If you live your life in the arena, the critics will always be early and loud. Some critiques are teachers, most are projections. Your job is to know which is which. Before you let criticism in, ask, has this person earned the right to give me feedback? Are they also in an arena somewhere, risking something real? Does their feedback align with the values I've chosen? If yes, even if it stings, take it in, sift it for gold, and say thank you. If not, take a breath, let it fall to the floor, and keep your eyes on the work. The cheap seats will always be free. Your attention is not. Self-compassion is not a spa day. It's disciplined kindness. It sounds like, of course this is hard, and I can do hard things. It refuses the shame story while insisting on accountability. It asks, what support would make the next brave step more likely, and then gives it water, movement, sleep, therapy, a mentor, a boundary. Self-compassion extends your runway. It keeps you honest without being cruel. It keeps you steady without being stiff. If you're waiting to like yourself before you practice self-compassion, you'll be waiting a long time. Start now. Treat yourself like someone you're responsible for keeping well. We think we need certainty to be brave. What we need is belief in our values, in our capacity to learn, in the worthiness that doesn't fluctuate with our metrics. Certainty is brittle. Belief is tensile. Certainty shatters in the storm. Belief bends and returns. When you feel the panic rise, the email unanswered, the team divided, the relationship wobbling, ask yourself, what do I believe that is bigger than this moment? Write it down. Carry it. Belief is not denial. It is orientation. It turns your feet toward true north when the path disappears. You don't have to choose between feeling and functioning. You can rumble skillfully. When anger flares, look underneath. Is there fear, hurt, powerless? If so, breathe and ask, what boundary needs attention? When anxiety spikes, ask, what is uncertain here, and what is mine to control? When envy visits, ask, what does this reveal about my longings? When grief arrives, clear the calendar of pretenses and make room. Emotions are data, not directives. Respect them. Don't outsource them to your partner or your team. Don't exile them into your body. Name them. Move them. Then decide from your values, not your adrenaline. The longest relationship you will ever have is with yourself. Belong there first. Speak to yourself like someone you love. Keep your promises to yourself. Align your actions with the values you claim in public. When you belong to yourself, you stop selling your soul for approval, because your home address is internal. You stop walking into rooms asking, who do you need me to be? And start asking, how can I serve while staying true? That shift is everything. It's the root of grounded confidence and the end of chronic resentment. Belonging to yourself is not selfish. It is the only way you can belong anywhere, honestly. Leadership isn't a title. It's 1,000 micro-choices. Share the hard truth or sugarcoat. Ask for help or pretend. Give credit or hoard it. Close the loop or leave it messy. Your choices create culture. If you want a culture of courage, model vulnerability. Share your FFTs. Practice braving in public. Celebrate repairs. Protect the vault. Reward questions, not just answers. Replace We don't have time for feelings we make time to name what's here so we can move wisely. Put your values on the agenda, literally, and ask, how did we live them this week? That's not soft. That's operationalizing integrity. Picture this, a conference room with glass walls. The agenda is loaded. A failed release, a disappointed client, a team on edge. You walk in with your strong back, soft front, wild heart. You begin. The story I'm telling myself is that I let you down. Here's what happened, here's the impact, and here's what I'm doing to repair it. I want your feedback on the plan. And before we dive in, I want to name that this is an FFT for me, giving this kind of update in real time. If you see me get defensive, I'll take a breath and try again. The air changes. People unclench. Someone says, thank you for naming it. Another adds, here's what I need to feel confident moving forward. You feel the quiver in your chest. Stay anyway, and something sacred happens. The group shifts from fear to forward. Not because you are perfect, but because you are present. That is daring leadership. That is how love shows up at work. Hustling for worthiness is a losing game played with other people's scorecards. Here's a different game. Define your values. Choose your arena. Collect small moments of integrity. Repair quickly. Practice rest and play. And measure success by alignment, not applause. Let your metrics matter, just not more than your humanity. Build trust with braving. First with yourself, then with others. Say no when you mean no. Say yes when it's a true yes. Ask for help sooner. Tell the truth faster. Offer empathy before solutions. And when the shame storm hits, name it, breathe, reach out, speak it. Shame cannot survive being spoken and met with empathy. Worthiness is not a finish line, it's a birthright. Spend your life spending it well. There is a decision in front of you. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's an apology. Maybe it's a dream you've been protecting with sarcasm because hope feels dangerous. This is your moment in the tunnel between who you've been and who you're becoming. Courage doesn't ask, are you ready? Courage asks, are you willing? Willing to be seen, willing to be misunderstood and still aligned, willing to name the truth kindly, willing to trust braving when your fear is loud, willing to practice the soft front even with a strong back, willing to rumble with shame and choose integrity over image. If yes, even a whisper of yes, take one step, not the perfect step, the next right one. Whisper this to yourself, like a vow. I will not trade my authenticity for approval. I will not measure my worth by someone else's comfort. I will build trust brick by brick. I will make my boundaries clear, because clear is kind and unclear is unkind. I will own my mistakes and repair. I will practice empathy before advice. I will choose generosity when I am uncertain. I will belong to myself so I can belong with you. I will keep a strong back, a soft front, and a wild heart. When I armor up, I will notice, name it, and set it down. I will lead with a whole heart, at home, at work, in love, in loss, in the messy middle of being beautifully, bravely human. Close your eyes for one breath. See the arena again, the dust, the lights, the empty seats you used to try to fill. See your armor on the ground, heavy, familiar, not for today. Feel your feet, grounded confidence rising like sap through your bones. Hear your heart, steady now. The gate opens, not because you are unafraid, but because you have decided. You step forward, one step, then another. Your name is called, not for perfection, but for presence. And as you cross that line, something inside you knows. This is what a whole heart feels like. This is what a brave life sounds like. Not thunder, not trumpets, just the quiet, unmistakable click of integrity sliding into place. Go. The call to courage is now. The arena is ready. And you you are already enough to enter.